Good evening, students. I have sent you the presentation video of deep water. Now I am going to explain the chapter itself with the help of text. As we know already about the author in the presentation itself, that William Douglas was born in Maine, Minnesota. After graduating with Bachelor of Art in English and Economics, he spent 2 years teaching. Later, he took legal career and he became the longest service serving justice in USA, and he retired in 1975. What is more important in about the author is that the following extract is taken from Of Men and Mountains by William O. Douglas. It reveals how, as a young boy, Douglas nearly drowned in a swimming pool, and in this essay he talks about his fear of water and thereafter how he finally overcame it. Now we have to notice how this autobiographical part is selected to support the discussion of fear by the author. Now the text itself, we have to notice these expressions and infer their meaning from the text itself. Now we would start. It happened when I was 10 or 11 years old. As I told you that it is uh, an autobiographical extract, that's why it has used first person narration. So I here stands for Douglas. I had decided to learn to swim. There was a pool at YMCA in Yakima that offered exactly the opportunity. The Yakima River was treacherous. Treacherous here means that it was not easy to predict the behavior of river Yakima. Sometimes the current was too much that it used to take or float the people swimming in it. So they were swept away. River was treacherous. Mother continually warned against it and kept afresh in my mind the details of each drowning in it. But the YMCA pool was safe. Sometimes question comes, why is YMCA pool safe? The reasons are, it was only 3 or 2 feet deep at shallow end, while it was 9 feet deep at the other. The drop was graceful. I took a pair of wings and went to the pool. I hated to walk. This is the map of Yakima River. So walk naked into it and show my skinny legs. But I subdued my pride and I did it. See, showing skinny leg. He was a skinny, thin, and lean boy when he was 11 or 10 years old. So he was ashamed of showing his skinny legs. But he subdued means he suppressed his pride of showing his thinny leg and he started swimming. From the beginning, however, I had an aversion. Aversion means fear to water when I was in it. This started when I was 3 or 4 years old, and father took me to the beach in California. He and I stood together in the surf. I hung on him, yet the waves knocked me down and swept over me. I was buried in water. My breath was gone. I was frightened. Father laughed, but there was terror in my heart at the overpowering force of the waves. So, Douglas in this paragraph tells us that the fear started when he was only 3 or 4 years old. Then, my introduction to YMCA swimming pool revived unpleasant memories. Unpleasant memories related to California beach and stirred childish fears. But in a little while, I gathered confidence. I paddled with my new water wings, watching the other boys and trying to learn by aping them. So he started learning to swim by imitating other boys. I did this 2 or 3 times on different days and was just beginning to feel at ease in the water when the misadventure happened. The misadventure was described in detail in the presentation also. So, Douglas says, I went to the pool when no one else was there. The place was quiet, the water was still, and the tile bottom was as white and clean as a bathtub. I was timid about going in alone, so I sat on the side of the pool to wait for others. So we see that Douglas was still afraid of going into water alone. He kept waiting for others to come. I had not been there for long when in came a big bruiser of a boy, probably 18 years old. He had thick hair on his chest. He was a beautiful physical specimen with legs and arms that showed rippling muscles and yelled, "Hi, skinny, would you like to be tucked?" So, here we are told about an incident that reminds us about the ragging incidents that happen in college with freshers. So, this bully kind of boy who was 18 and who was quite physically built up, his muscles showed six pack abs, and he tried to joke at the author, calling him skinny, lean, and thin. With that, he picked me up and tossed me into the deep end. I landed in a sitting position, swallowed water, and went at to the bottom. I was frightened, but not yet frightened out of my wits. It is important that when he was thrown, at first he was frightened, but he was able to plan. On his way down, on the way down, I planned my feet. When my feet hit the bottom, I would make a big jump, come to the surface, lie flat on it, and paddle to the edge of the pool. This tells about the planning that was made by Douglas. It seemed now it seemed a long way down. Those 9 feet were more like 90, and I touched bottom. My lungs were ready to burst because he was taking water in every moment. But when my feet hit bottom, I summoned all my strength and made what I thought was great spring onward. So with all his strength, he gave himself a push with his feet. I imagined I would bob to the surface like a cork, just like the cork of a beer bottle opens up with a sound. Instead, I came up slowly. I opened my eyes and saw nothing but water. Water that had a dirty yellow tinge to it. I grew panicky. Panicky, again, word for fear. I reached up as if to grab a rope, and my hands clutched only at water. I was suffocating. I tried to yell, but no sound came out. Then my eyes and nose came out of the water, not my mouth. This paragraph tells how hard he tried, how did he struggle to come out of water, but he failed. I flailed at the surface of the water, swallowed and choked. I tried to bring my legs up, but they hung as dead weights, paralyzed and rigid. A great force was pulling me under. I screamed, but only the water heard me. I had started on the long journey back to the bottom of the pool. I struck at the water as I went down expanding my strength as one in a nightmare flights. One more psychological phenomena is described here by the author, that when we are in sleep and when we have nightmare, however hard we may try to struggle against that irresistible force, it might be anything that is frightening us, but we are unable to when we are in sleep. So, expanding my strength as one in a nightmare fight, an irresistible force. Irresistible means uncontrollable. I had lost all my breath, my lungs ached, my head throbbed. I was getting dizzy, but I remembered the strategy. I would spring from the bottom of the pool and come like cork to the surface. I would lie flat on the water, strike out with my arms, and thresh with my legs. Then I would get to the edge of the pool and be safe. I went down and down endlessly. I opened my eyes, nothing but water with a yellow glow, dark water that one could not see through. See, when the author reached the pool, he described the pool as transparent as a bathtub. Now he says that the water is dark with a yellow glow. Again, our psychological response to fear. And then sheer stark terror seized me. Seized means took control over me. It overpowered the author. Terror that knows no understanding. Terror that knows no control. Terror that no one can understand who has not experienced it. So, this paragraph describes terror in all its psychological details. I was shrieking underwater. I was paralyzed underwater, stiff, rigid with fear. Stiff means hard, rigid means unable to move with fear. Even the screams in my throat were frozen, only my heart and the pounding in my head, throbbing sensation in his head, said that I was still alive. And then, in the midst of the terror, came a touch of reason. So he was completely terrorized, but again there came a touch, a light of reason. I must remember to jump when I hit the bottom. At last, I felt the tiles under me. So it would be third time that he would try. My toes reached out as if to grab them. I jumped with everything I had, but the jump made no difference. The water was still around me. I looked for ropes, ladders, water wings. Nothing but water. A mass of yellow water held me. Stark terror took an even deeper hold on me. Like a great charge of electricity, I shook and trembled with fright. Fright? One more word for fear. My arms wouldn't move. My leg wouldn't move. I tried to call for help, to call for mother. Nothing happened. And then, strangely, there was light. I was coming out of the awful yellow water. At least my eyes were. My nose was almost out too. Then I started down a third time. I sucked for air and got water. The yellowish light was going out. It shows that he was fainting, going unconscious now. Then all effort ceased. Now, the paragraph that we would read is a description of how an approaching death can be peaceful. How, when we cease all our effort, it becomes easy to accept even death. Then all effort ceased. I relaxed. Even my legs felt limp. and a blackness swept over my brain. It wiped out fear. It wiped out terror. There was no more panic. It was quiet and peaceful. Nothing to be afraid of. This is nice. To be drowsy, to go to sleep. No need to jump. Too tired to jump. It's nice to be carried gently, to float along in space. Tender arms around me. Tender arms like mothers. Now I must go to sleep. The sleep here symbolizes long slumber of death. I crossed to oblivion and the curtain of life fell. So now the author felt that he has died. Curtain of life fell. The next I remember, I was lying on my stomach beside the pool, vomiting. The chap that threw me in was saying, "But I was only fooling." Someone said, "The kid nearly died. We all right now. Let us carry him to the locker room." So now we know that Douglas was saved by other people, and the chap who threw him into water was cheated by them. Several hours later, I walked home. I was weak and trembling. Now, the author is describing the after effects of the emotion of fear, stark terror that seized him. Several hours later, I walked home. I was weak and trembling. I shook and I cried when I lay on my bed. I couldn't eat. I couldn't eat that night. For days, a haunting fear was in my heart. The slightest exertion upset me, making me wobbly in the knees and sick to my stomach. This shows that for days together, the author was unable to the author was unable to be normal. I never went back to the pool. I feared water. I avoided it whenever I could. A few years later, when I came to know the waters of Cascades, I wanted to get into them. And whenever I did, whether I was wading in Tytone or bumping river or bathing in warm lake of the goat rocks, the terror that had seized me in the pool would come back. It would take possession of me completely. My legs would become paralyzed. I see horror would grab my heart. So he felt as if his heart became frozen because of fear that seized him years ago. This handicap, this inability. Handicap means inability. This handicap stayed with me as the years rolled by. In canoes on main lakes, fishing for landlocked salmon. So all his friends used to go for fishing, go for picnics near water body. Bass fishing in New Hemisphere, trout fishing on the Desket, Metellus or Origin, fishing for salmon on the Columbia, bumping lake, cascades, wherever I went. The haunting fear. Haunting means which comes to us again and again. The haunting fear of water followed me. It ruined all my fishing trips, deprived me of the joy of canoeing, boating, swimming. I used every way I knew to overcome this fear, but it held me firmly in its grip. Finally, one October, this paragraph is important when he determined to overcome his fear. So, from here, this paragraph tells us that this paragraph tells us that how he finally overcame his fear. I used every way I knew to overcome this fear, but it held me firmly in its grip. Finally, one October, I decided to get an instructor and learn to swim. I went to a pool and practiced 5 days a week and asked each day. The instructor put a belt around me, rope attached to the belt, went through a pulley, then ran on an overhead cable. He held on the end of the rope. We went back and forth across the pool, hours after hour, day after day, week after week, on each trip across the pool. A bit of the panic seized me. Each time the instructor relaxed his hold on the rope, I went under. Some of the old terror returned. My legs froze. It was 3 months before the tension began to slack. Then he taught me to put my face underwater and exhale, and raise my nose and inhale. I repeated the exercise hundreds of times. Bit by bit, I shed part of the panic that seized me when my head went under water. See, this paragraph tells how hard he practiced to overcome his fear of water, and he practiced to exhale and inhale in water. Next, he held me at the side of the pool, had me kick with my legs. For weeks, I did just that. At first, my legs refused to work, but gradually relaxed, and finally, I could command them. Thus, piece by piece, he built a swimmer. It's important that it is told that the swimmer was made piece by piece, that the swimmer was built piece by piece. He built a swimmer, and then when he had perfected each piece, he put them together into an integrated whole. In April, he said, "Now you can swim. Dive off and swim the length of the pool. Crawl stroke." So he started learning swimming in October, and it is April that next year that he was declared to be a perfect swimmer. I did. The instructor was finished. Instructor was finished means the task of instructor was finished. But I was not finished. I was not finished means that he was still not satisfied. I still wondered if I would be terror stricken. When I was alone in the pool, I tried it. Swim the length up and down. Teeny vestiges. It's important. Teeny vestiges means there was residual fear. Teeny reminders of fear, teeny vestiges of the old terror would return. But then I could frown and say to that terror, trying to scare me, "Ah, well, here's to you. Look," and off I go for another length of the pool. See, in this paragraph, he tells how he used to reassure himself again and again by looking into the eyes of the terror itself. This went until July. So, from April, May, June, July. But I was still not satisfied. I was not sure that all the terror had left. So I went Lake Wentworth in New Hampshire, dived off at a dock at Triggs Island and swam 2 miles across the lake, Stampact Island. I swam the crawl, breast, side stroke and backstroke. Only once did the terror return, and I was in the middle of the lake. Put my face under and saw nothing but bottomless water. The old sensation returned in miniature. I laughed and said, "Well, Mr. Terror, what do you think you can do to me?" It fled, and I swam on. See, this is important. The reaction to terror by the author, that when he looked into the eyes of the terror, terror flat and author swam on. Yet I had residual doubts. Residual means slight remaining doubts. At first, at my first opportunity, I hurried west, went up the Titan to Conrad Meadows, the Conrad Creek Trail to Mead Glacier, and camped in the high meadow by the side of warm lake. The next morning, I dived into the lake, and swam across to the other shore and back, just as Doug Carpian used to do. I shouted with joy, and Gilbert Peak returned the echo. I had conquered my fear of water. The experience had a deep meaning for me, as only those who have known stark terror and conquered it can appreciate. See, here the author says that only those who have an experience of terror can know, can appreciate, and that there is peace. So the author says it is easy to die. There is terror only in the fear of death. So we are afraid of death only till we are afraid of death. As Roosevelt knew when he said, all we have to fear is fear itself, because I had experienced both the sensation of dying and the terror that fear of it can produce. The will to live somehow grew in intensity. It is because, see, it was asked in the beginning, why a successful person like Douglas tells about the experience of phobia. It is because he wants to tell that will to live somehow grows in intensity if we overcome all our fear. At last, I felt released, free to walk the trails, to climb the peaks, to brush aside fear. So now the author is free from fear, free from all kind of phobia. Now he was no longer handicapped. Now he was an able and successful person. He is proud to announce that he is not afraid of anything.